Hey guys, I'm Aditya Thakur and welcome to another video in our complete Python playlist. In this video, we'll continue from where we left off in the last one. We'll continue with the methods that we can use to perform operation on list. We'll particularly look at how to remove certain items from a list, how to clear it, and a few other functions as in how to copy one list to other, how to sort the different items in it, and then last we'll look at how to join two lists. We'll also take up a few other methods, so let's get started without any further delay. Before we go into it, a quick introduction to Newton School. It is a platform that prepares you for your career in tech. We have courses designed for freshers, professionals, and working women with no tech background. We train you for 6 months and help you become an amazing full stack developer. Newton School has a network of 300 plus great companies. So after you complete the training, Newton School ensures that you get placed in the best companies. Also, the best part is they have a pay after placement program. So you don't have to pay Newton School anything until and unless you are placed with a minimum 5 lakh CTC. About the Launchpad, it is an initiative taken by Newton School for people who want to start coding from scratch. There are videos available on the Launchpad section that you can watch for free, and there you can practice several assignments and quizzes related to the course. So we have already discussed what lists are in Python in the last video. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it from the playlist itself. And in this video, we'll look at some of the other methods in Python list that you can use to perform operations. So I'll quickly go over to newtonschool.co, and if you haven't already, you can create a new account by going over to sign up. But since I already have an account, I'll just log in, and this should take some time. Once I am on my profile, I will go over to the playground and go down to algorithm playground. So you can create a new one or open an existing editor, but I'll just create a new playground. So this should take me to a interface like this, where we have the option to enter code and then take in an input and also print something to console. So I'll quickly go over and select my compiler. We are working with Python, so I would be using Python 3.8. And let's perform some operations. So I have my list which had names of some students in it. So this is my list. I can print it out to console, like print my list. When I run this program, it should print out the list to the console. Now let's talk about the operations that we will be performing in this video. The first is, what if we want to remove a certain element from the list? So let us say like there is this name of a student that I want to remove from list due to some reasons. So what I can do is I can quickly, or I can type in my list and then use the remove keyword to remove the element. So I'll type in my list dot remove and pass the name that I want to remove. So let us say like Aman moved out of school and I want to remove his name. So I can quickly type in my list dot remove and then print this my list again. So let's try running it once, and you'll notice like we have the original list printed out, and after that after we remove the item, we print the my list again, and it does not have Aman's name in it. So this is one way of removing the list when you know like what you want to remove. But there could be chances when you want to remove an element at a particular index. So for that, we can use a method called pop, and how this works is basically we replace it with pop and pass the index of the element that we want to remove. So as I have already mentioned that it starts the storage starts from 0. So Aditya is at 0th index, Aman is at 1. So if I want to remove Aman, I'll just type in 1 here. And if I run this program right now, you'll notice like there is no change because it works exactly as the last one. But the difference is, in the last one we knew what element we wanted to remove, so we used the remove keyword and passed the element as in the name of the student that we wanted to remove. In this case we know the index. There could be a case when you want to remove an element at a particular index. In that case you can use the pop keyword. So let me also show it with the different example, as in let's try removing rn from it. So instead of 1 I'll type in 2 because Aditya is at 0, Aman is at 1, rn is at second index. So if I run this program, it should be printed out without rn in it. And that is how you use the pop keyword. Now you can also instead use the delete keyword. We can simply use delete to remove a specified index. So how that works is basically, unlike pop, we type in del and then write the list name and pass the value of the index that we want to remove it. So we have written delete and then my list and index of the element Aman. So let's try running it again, and you'll notice like rn is there but Aman is removed. So this is how it works. We'll type in delete and then in front of it type in the element that we want to remove. So in this case we wanted to remove the first index element, and therefore we typed it out like that. And then when we'll print out the list, it would have deleted the element at that particular index. And after this there is this one last keyword which can be used to remove elements. So what if you wanted to clear out your list completely, make it empty? So you can type in my list dot clear, right? So this is the method that you can use. We'll keep the print statement as it is, and when we run the program, the list is empty right now. So all the elements have been removed from the list. So this is how the clear keyword works. And then we have basically seen all the elements that you can use to remove elements. We saw the remove keyword, which removed elements if you know like what particular word or name of students you want to remove. After that we saw the pop keyword, which is used to remove at a particular index. Then we saw the delete keyword, which is also used to remove at a particular index, but has a different style of writing. You can mention the element that you want to remove in front of the delete keyword, whereas in pop you can pass the index to the method itself. Then last we saw the clear keyword, which basically clears out the whole list. So after this is done, you can also like basically loop through a list and print out each of these elements. So we can type in for in my list print x. So I'll run this once before I explain it. Basically what happens is we are using a for loop. So we haven't discussed loops as such, so I'll take them up in the future. I'll also take up their interaction or iterations with the list in the future. But for now, like what we are doing is basically for x is an element in the list. We need to print out this x. So what it basically does is it prints out each element in the list as they show up. So we'll take the loops part of it in the future because we need to go over the loop syntax and such stuff before we talk about it. So for now, let's talk about sorting different elements in a list. So we have elements with a list with strings in them. So these are different strings. Now what if we wanted to sort them like alphanumerically? So what I can do is use the sort keyword. So I'll type in my list dot sort, and then I can print it out. So what I can do is I'll type in print my list, and now if I run this program, you'll notice like there aren't many changes because A, D, A, M, this list is basically sorted, as in the elements are arranged according to. So what if we took this element from here and pasted it here, took Ayush here and pasted it, because these elements were initially sorted as in A, they were all starting with A, then it would check the second element. So D comes before M, M comes before R, and R comes before Y. So this element was this list was sorted already. So let's try changing the values and running it again. And you will notice like our original list that was printed out to console was this. And after sorting, it brought Aditya to the front. So that is how it works. But let us also try it with a list of integer values. So let's type in a big number and then a very small one, again a big number, and some random numbers, right? So if I were to sort this list, let's try running this program. So it should print out the original list and then print out the sorted list. So what if there were duplicates in it, as in, let us say like 8 was repeating somewhere. So now if I run this list, what it would do is it would bring the equal numbers together and print them to console. So we can also, like right now it's being sorted in ascending order, we can also sort it into a descending order by adding this one parameter, setting reverse equal to true. Right, so let's try running this program. And now it will be sorted in a descending order. So we set reverse to true and we get the list in a descending order. So now that we are done with the sorting functions, let's take a look at how can we copy like the different elements of a list from one list to other. So there is this called my list, and I also want to prepare a numbers list. I can easily do like numbers equal to my list. This should copy the elements of the my list to the numbers. And now if I print out these two, as in if I print out my list, so it should print the list as such. And after this I can print the numbers list, right? So if I run this program, it should print out both the list copied. But the problem is, if there were certain operations that you performed on this my list after before this copying is done, so what would happen is that this list to the numbers list that we have would be a reference to this my list. So changes made in this my list would be like automatically be made in the other lists. So let us do like my list dot sort. See, these are being reflected before the copy. And even after you run it after the assignment, so these changes are still being reflected. Why? Because the numbers list that you have made is a reference to the my list. So any changes to that my list will also affect numbers list. So you don't really want that. Why? Because let's say like you're performing some operations on my list. You wanted to save a copy in the numbers list, and your changes, whatever change you will make will be reflected in that. So if there is a problem, or if later on like you wanted to recover some data from the copy of the list that you have prepared, you would not have it, because changes are being reflected in that as well. So we do not want that. We want to create a copy which is independent of these changes. So what we can do is, instead of creating numbers like this, we can use the mylist.copy. So copy is a method that lets you copy the elements, and let us try running it, and it should print out both the list. Now let us try that again, as in after this assignment is done, let us perform the sorting operation on my list. And hopefully these changes should not be reflected to the numbers list. Right, so we have it here. So we had the my list like this. We made the copy in the numbers and we sorted the my list after that. So the sorting was applied to this print my list statement, as in we could see the changes happen there, but these changes were not reflected in the numbers list. So we still have an original copy in the numbers, which we can later use to recover data or something, or if you want to perform a different operations on the numbers list, so you can go ahead with that. Similarly, we also have another way of creating this copy. What we can do is, instead of using the copy keyword, we can use the list constructor or the built-in method and just type in list and pass my list to it. So this should also work the same. We still have my list being sorted and the numbers is storing the copy of the my list, which we can use later on. So we can also like join two different lists. So let us say like there was this my list, and let us copy these elements and create like a new list which has elements 3, right, 3, 5, 29, right. So what we can do is we can join these two lists by simply like list join equals to my list plus numbers, and then we can print out this list join, right, print list join. Let's try running this once, and it printed out the original list initially, and then it printed out the list we got after joining these two lists. So what this is like how you can join the different lists, and there is also another way of joining them by using the append keyword. So we had seen the append keyword in one of the previous videos, and to join two lists by using append, what we need to do is we have to use the for loop again. Since we have not discussed loops in great length, so I'll just quickly I'll just show it right now, but I think I would be better able to explain it later. But if you remember the append keyword, so what it basically does is it basically appends or adds the element to the end of the list. So what we are basically doing is we have for x, for like each element in our numbers list. So this is our numbers list. What we'll do is we'll use the my list, which was our original list, and add elements to the end of that list. So we are using append and passing this x, each element, in a loop. So it will go first 3 would go here and it would get added to the end of the list, then 5 would go there, and then 29 would go there. So like this, if I run this program, it should print out the two list, and then after that, since we have not saved this list in any of that, so what we'll have to do is we'll print out my list again. Okay, so what it would do is this loop, since it would append these new items to the list, so we do not need the last one. What it would do is it would basically append it, so our list that is being printed out gets these elements added to the end, right? So that is how it works. Unlike the plus method, which basically we needed to create a new variable, this one works without like creating a new variable. You can just add the elements to the list that you want. So if I wanted to add them to the list 1 or the my list, so you can quickly add them to the end of it instead of creating a new variable for it. So you can also, instead of using the append keyword, there is also another keyword called extend. So Yep. So extend also works the same. What it does is basically we have our original list, my list, and to extend will pass the new list. So it would just add the elements to the original list and print them like to the console. So we got the elements that were originally there, and then there was an extension, we added the new element. So you can use extend keyword if you do not want to use the for loop and the append method. So you can simply go ahead and use the extend keyword to quickly add the element. So these are all the methods that we'll discuss. We looked at like the pop, remove method, and then we also saw reverse the element sorting. We saw like the append keyword, the extend keyword. We saw how to in the previous videos, like how to get the length and all that stuff. So all these are the methods that you require while working with the lists in Python. In the next video, we'll take up another collection, which is tuple, and after that we'll do dictionaries. We'll after we are done with these collections and introduction to them, we'll get started with decision making in Python, that is if and for statements. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe the channel to stay updated with the videos as they come out. And this is all about list in Pythons. We have covered the methods in the previous video. You can check out the whole playlist, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.